In the second section of Music Theory for the Country Guitarist, we're going to take a look at how the dominant seventh factors into the CAGED system in our classic country intros. So we're going to go through the CAGED system again, but this time adding in the flat seventh to each chord. So our generic CAGED system is going to look like this. We have the C, and then we're going to add our pinky to the third fret of the third string. That's a B flat, the flat 7 of C. And we have our C7. We have our A here. We're going to take off the third string and make it open. The A becomes a G, and we have our A7. We have our G chord here. We have kind of two ways of doing this. We can do the G down to an F like this, where we have our first finger on the F of the first string. Or we could add in our pinky on the third fret of the fourth string, and we have another kind of lower flat seventh sound, like so. Our next chord is going to be the E. We have two options here as well. We can take off the fourth string and have the open D, the flat 7 there. We could also add in our pinky on the third fret of the second string. We have a D there, and have a higher flat 7. And then with our D chord, we can just drop the D on the second string to a C, and we have our D7. So we're going to do the same thing now in the key of A for our generic shapes. So we have up here at the 12th fret our A chord C shape, and then we're just going to adjust that to an A7. We've got an A7 A shape here. So we take our normal A, make it an A7. We have our A chord E shape right here. Excuse me. We have our A chord G shape. So the lower part of it is going to look like this, where you have that G there on the fourth string with the pinky. Again, this is a chord you typically don't play, but it's good just to be able to visualize it. Or we can do it on the top here, where we're bringing our A down to a G on the third fret first string. From there, we have our A7 E shape. So we're just taking our pinky off the fourth string. And then lastly, we have our A7 D shape, where we have, this is kind of our basic version of the A major, and then we drop the A down to the A7, the second string, moving down to that 8th fret. So those are going to be the A chords with the dominant 7th CAGED shapes. Now, because we're in the key of A, the 5 chord is the dominant chord. So we need to do this for the E chord in here. So we're going to take that E7, right, that we did in the beginning of the video, and we now have E7 here. We're going to take it up to an E7 D shape. We have E7 here. We're going to take it up to an E7 C shape. We have E7 here. We're going to take it up to an E7A shape. We have E7 here. And then lastly, we have the E7G shape. We're going to split it into two. We have this first version and then this top version. So what I would like us to do now is we're going to map out the E pentatonics, but in also adding in the D note or the flat 7th. So that's going to create more tension and more pull to resolve when we're doing our intros. So we've got this E7 here, and we're going to play E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D. Or we could do it with the open 4th string. And then we're going to resolve right here on E, and that's setting us up right into this E7D shape. So we have... Now we're going to keep moving up. We have E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D, and we're landing right into our E7 right here in the C shape. And we're going to start on our E right here. On the 5th fret, 2nd string, we have E, F sharp, G sharp, and I'm going to pause and play my my E7 right here in the A shape, and then we have B, C sharp, D, and I'm going to pause and play my E7 in the G shape, and then we finish at E up top. So all together you have that's outlining our E7 through the CAGED system, altered for the dominant sound. So now we're going to put that to practice in 2 intros. We're going to do a 55-11 turnaround this time. A 55-11 turnaround is just 2 bars of E and then 2 bars of A. And we're going to move across the different positions, trying to see where that dominant 7th is to outline the E chord. So we'll get right into it. All right, so let's break down the first example. Our kind of intro into the intro is going to sound like this. We're going to go 1. So we're coming in on the and of 1. We have E, A, B, C sharp, and then we're sliding into D. So that's going to be the flat 7 of E, right? Which lines us right up with the beginning of the change, right? There's our flat 7. And then we're going to come right back down the pentatonics. We have C sharp, and then we're going to come and play a little triplet and slide. So B, C sharp, B, A, and then we're picking up into the G sharp. So we're sliding right back into this E chord here. Okay, so we have 1. From there, we're going to play an F sharp, E, quick slide up to B. That's the 5, right? And we can also see that right here out of this E7 chord. And then resolve down to A. So that whole E section is going to sound 1. And just to finish it off, we're back in our A chord here, and we're going to play 1, 2. So it's just an A, F sharp, E, then slide up from B to C sharp, and then hit the octave. So I'm going to play it a little slower, and then see if you can visualize the E7 chord as I do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, let's take a look at example 2. So to break this down, we're going to be working out of our E chord A shape here, and then moving up into our E chord G shape, and then resolving into our A chord C shape. So we have this kind of lead in where we're going to go 1, 2, B, C sharp, and then bend the C sharp up to a D. That flat 7, bring it back down. We're going to do C sharp, B, and then a quick slide from G sharp down to F sharp, resolving on E. So we can see how that's all in this E7 A shape and kind of dipping into this E7 C shape here. So we have 1, 2. And from there, what I'm going to do is move all the way up into the E chord G shape, A chord C shape. So I have this F sharp to E, and then I'm going to play down to B, right, highlighting the 5 of E, and then resolving down to my A. So I have this resolving. We did that kind of in the previous section, that A pentatonic area there, where we're kind of also dipping into our E chord E shape here at the 12th fret, the octave. So we have this 1, 2, and then just a little finishing off on F sharp, E, F sharp, resolving to A. So see if you can visualize those shapes and the shapes that I'm kind of dipping into and then coming right back out of as I play this. A 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2. All right, in our next section, we're going to take a look at the CAGED system in relation to double stops and how we can emulate a lap steel guitar or a dobro in our country intros using those double stops.